I've always enjoyed a good ghost story, those personal encounters shared by family and friends while sitting on the front porch over a cup of coffee or glass of iced tea. But there's something special about tales that span decades or even centuries that are still recounted today and have a historical backdrop. When researching American ghost stories, it doesn't take long to stumble upon the spectral tales of Abraham Lincoln. There are many, from prominent White House visitors to former presidents, their families and staff. Numerous accounts describe sightings of the famous ghost seen in the Lincoln bedroom or around the White House property. Some say Lincoln's spirit also haunts his old home place, while others claim to see the ghostly apparition of the train that carried his body. I've heard and read many of these accounts over the years. They make for intriguing additions to historical fact. But today we're diving into a foreboding tale from the life of our 16th president. This isn't a story of an encounter with his ghost, but rather Lincoln's own chilling account that foreshadowed his untimely death. Our story comes from Harper's New Monthly magazine, written in July 1865, Volume 31, Issue 182. This article, by journalist Noah Brooks, a close friend of President Lincoln, shares personal recollections of the president. You can find a link to the article in the description if you're interested. Now let's step back in time and hear the words of Noah Brooks as he recounts this extraordinary and haunting moment. Brooks begins, "Considering the many open and secret threats to take his life, it is not surprising that Mr. Lincoln had many thoughts about his coming to a sudden and violent end. He once said that he felt the force of the expression, to take one's life in his hand, but that he would not like to face death suddenly. He said that he thought himself a great coward physically, and was sure that he should make a poor soldier, for unless there was something in the excitement of a battle, he was sure that he would drop his gun and run at the first symptom of danger. That was said sportively, and he added, moral cowardice is something which I think I never had." Shortly after the presidential election in 1864, he related an incident which I will try to put upon paper here, as nearly as possible in his own words. "It was just after my election in 1860, when the news had been coming in thick and fast all day, and there had been a great hurrah, boys, so that I was well tired out, and went home to rest, throwing myself down on a lounge in my chamber. Opposite where I lay was a bureau with a swinging glass upon it, and looking in that glass I saw myself reflected, nearly at full length. But my face, I noticed, had two separate and distinct images, the tip of the nose of one being about 3 inches from the tip of the other. I was a little bothered, perhaps startled, and got up and looked in the glass, but the illusion vanished. On lying down again, I saw it a second time plainer, if possible, than before. And then I noticed that one of the faces was a little paler, say 5 shades, than the other. I got up and the thing melted away, and I went off, and in the excitement of the hour, forgot all about it, nearly but not quite. For the thing would once in a while come up and give me a little pang, as though something uncomfortable had happened. When I went home, I told my wife about it, and a few days after I tried the experiment again, when, sure enough, the thing came again. But I never succeeded in bringing the ghost back after that, though I once tried very industriously to show it to my wife, who was worried about it somewhat. She thought it was a sign that I was to be elected to a second term of office, and that the paleness of one of the faces was an omen that I should not see life through the last term." Brooks' article continues, "The president, with his usual good sense, saw nothing in all this but an optical illusion, though the flavor of superstition which hangs about every man's composition made him wish that he had never seen it. But there are people who will now believe that this odd coincidence was a warning." Mr. Brooks, it seems, did not want the reader to jump to any supernatural conclusions. I can understand his hesitation. Mary Todd Lincoln, the president's widow, quickly turned to spiritualism as a form of comfort after losing her son and then her husband. She believed the double image in the mirror was an omen of death, a belief that seemed tragically confirmed. Unfortunately, Mrs. Lincoln was taken advantage of on several occasions by swindlers claiming to have powers to communicate with the dead. One famous photograph even shows a mourning Mrs. Lincoln with the ghostly image of her husband standing behind her. There are many accounts that Mrs. Lincoln spent much of her life consulting mediums and engaging in seances, seeking to reach her loved ones and gain insights into the future. Some say her dabbling in spiritual and occult activities has contributed to the legends of hauntings surrounding the Lincolns. Of course, skeptics might argue that such tales come from overactive imaginations fueled by famous images of the former president and the knowledge of his tragic end. But if the story Noah Brooks recalled was true, Lincoln's unsettled feelings and Mary Todd Lincoln's interpretation of the mirror's omen might lend a shred of credence to the supernatural encounters reported later. What do you think about this eerie tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. We hope you've enjoyed this story. Your support means a lot to us. If you enjoy spooky tales, strange encounters, and weird history, consider subscribing. We have plenty more stories on the way. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.